Welcome. Take It Up with Jessica Lee. I'm here with Alvaro Celis from Microsoft. You are the VP of Device Sales Global, yes?
That is correct. Thank you, Jessica. Hello to the audience.
I'm excited to talk to you about this device as a service concept that you mentioned to me.
Sure.
What is that?
Well, what's going on in the industry is when you think about the cloud transformation and how it has been benefits to every company, no matter the size, we're going through the same transformation in the hardware industry, right? And my team works with the device manufacturers of all sizes, from big companies, multinational, to the small ones in every given country. And the problem we're trying to solve for is companies want to have the same power that they have with the cloud on their devices. They want to be able to unlock their potential, being sure they have access to the best device for the work that they have at hand. And for that, they want to move from a capital expenditure that is fixing their balance sheets and lock the device and becomes an asset that depreciates with all that complexity to a service. So some company that is more skillful can give the device to you for the right device for the right user. You pay for what you use as a service. They provision it. They maintain it, they use security to be sure that you have the best experience possible. You control how much you pay, and you can go up and down depending on your team.
And what devices are we talking about, like tablets, laptop, phone?
All of them.
Okay.
Right? It's a general trend in the industry. My team works mostly on personal computing devices, right? Mostly on the Microsoft side of the equation. So a lot of that work is going into laptops, desktops, and that type of devices. But the concept is general. Relative, what you want to be sure is that you have the right hardware and you pay a service. And every certain time, you get a refresh so you can get the best and the brightest and keep your service level up.
And you mentioned gaming. So how does that fit into gaming?
Well, what happens is that when you think about devices in your life, I mean, they happen at school, they happen at work, they happen at home. So also gamers, which are very hungry for power and all that, want to have an experience that goes like that. So our retail partners and some of our device manufacturers are also working in ways where you can subscribe to a service that allow you to have a gaming device, and also the gaming services, the games and all that, as part of a service. So you can have the same type of experience if you're a gamer.
I see, like the Xbox.
Xbox can be one, gaming devices like PCs can be another, but the principle is the same, right? What you want to be sure is that you control your expenses, you know how much it's going to cost, but you have your refresh of your hardware as part of the experience.
Right, okay. You talk about this partnership you have with OEMs and people like Lenovo, for example.
Dell, HP, Lenovo,
Ingram.
Samsung. And we have not only with device maker, but with device sellers. A big role of what my team does is being sure that we partner with them in the way they design the device and what they can create. How do they go and provide them in every country? We call that selling. We provide them in country. And then how do you go to market in the different routes to consumers, to commercial, and to education as well.
Okay. You have a large team, right? Several hundred?
Yeah, the total team is a few hundred people, yes. We have all over the world doing great work with those device partners.
And they manage thousands of partners globally.
Yes, correct. When you think about the broad range of devices that we have in our lives, as we were talking about at home, at school, and on the go as well. My team works with the different partners and channels that you need to have so you can get those devices for the right usage.
Okay. I want to shift to your own career now, the personal story. You've been with Microsoft for almost 27 years or so.
Yes.
And
wait, I always make the caveat, but I started pretty young, okay? Just to be sure.
And you've worked in Asia, you've worked in Latin America.
Yes, I have. I have the pleasure.
Tell us your journey, because it's fascinating, the different roles you've had and the experience, the global cultural experiences you've had.
Absolutely. Look, I thank you for the invitation, and I hope the story can inspire and, spark some thinking on the audience. Look, I ended up, as I was mentioning to you off camera, in sales by accident. I was born in Venezuela, and what happened is the context of my family is very important on this story, so let me tell you a little bit about that. My grandparents were very humble people. Actually, my grandmother learned how to read and write with my youngest uncle. Right, we were very, very modest, and my grandfather worked in the oil fields in Venezuela. They put 4 kids through college, which was a great achievement for us Venezuela in the 40s. My mom was the eldest of those 4 kids, but she was born with a congenital problem that created a deformity on her spine, and it was super hard. Dark-skinned woman, Venezuela in the 40s. So she was told, "You're gonna live 30 years if you're lucky. So you shouldn't do anything with your life. So that should be it." And my mom is like, "No, I'm gonna go have a career. I'm gonna go have a life. I'm gonna have a family. I'm gonna be a normal person."
Yeah.
She ended up being an exceptional person, actually, an inspiring character in my life. So I was never supposed to be born to start with, right? I was ill-advised for her to, let alone have a career and a life, to have kids. And she had 2, fortunately, my brother and I. I'm the oldest. So in that journey, I was very, very overprotected. Until I went to military high school when I was going to my 11 years old. And that's when a lot of the character that I have today started to develop. And I will tell you a little more on that when we talk about career and some tips. But in that sense, I go to college, graduated from computer science, and I did all the subjects of a master on computer science.
Yes.
So I was very technical.
Yes.
I was a geek, right? I was a nerd in the time, but the modern word is geek. But I was in love with the technology Microsoft was creating back in the days for the server business. So a lot of my friends were working at Microsoft. One of my professors was also working at Microsoft. So I knocked the door, and they're like, "Great, but the only work that job that we have is a marketing job." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know what that is, but it's to run your server business. I know operating systems, so why not?" I ended up doing my first marketing job by accident.
Ah, I see. And you love it.
I love it. I still love the technology. That's my passion. And then what happened is we realized we were 8 people in Venezuela, but we covered Central America, the Caribbean. We had more countries than people in the office.
Yes.
And so we needed to open new offices. So the question comes, "Hey, we need to open an office in country X. Can you help us?" Same answer. Why not?
Right.
Sure, let's go do it.
Yeah. So you took chances every time the opportunity was there for you.
Absolutely. You know, when you have that audacity and youth, I just went for it. I learned a ton in the process. So I did that for my first 4 years, right? I was doing the server business and some of the work. It was super funny because it was the times where mainframes were very important. The mini computing was all Unix systems. All networks was Novell networks back in the day. And my product was called Windows Nice Try, Windows Not There. And I was the product manager. So, but it was, you know, such a great challenge to go and defy the status quo and do something different and new. Yeah. So I did that for 4 years. And then I got the chance to go to Guatemala, Central America, and run the operations from Guatemala and El Salvador there as a country manager, which was great. I did good. I came back to Venezuela, age 29, and I was a country manager of Microsoft in my own country.
Wow.
Which was an incredible opportunity.
Yeah.
Did that for 3 years. We went through the first times of the social changes that happened in the country. And then 3-4 years later, I ended up in Miami, running now a regional job for all Latin America, again doing the server business. I did that for, let's say, 3 years. And then I had the opportunity to move up and manage one of the customer segments, one of the ones that was promising on growth. We did a good job there. So then I got promoted again to manage 29 countries in 14 offices around the region. I did that for 4 years, and then I got one of my dream jobs, which was leaving Latin America and going to Asia.
Wow.
To go and learn about the Asian culture, the business in Asia.
Where were you based in Asia?
I was based out of Singapore.
Okay.
So I spent 4 years in Singapore, Australia, New Zealand, all Southeast Asia, Korea was part of the territory. So we did the scale of the business there. It was when we started to move aggressively into the cloud, so I did that there. And 4 years ago, I moved into the headquarters in Redmond, Washington, and I started to do this job around building our capabilities or reinventing our capabilities to work with OEM partners to do devices across the globe.
Okay, wow, what a journey.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic 27 years.
Yes.
It's been great. I get a lot of the question, I mean, what's wrong with you? Why do you spend 27 years in the same place? And what happened is that the company has changed so much that it doesn't feel like the same company, even though it's been the same name. Culturally, it's been pretty different. And every time I was ready to do more, I had the fortune to have been opening the doors to have an opportunity to grow and learn at the same time. So it was kind of a great balance on, learning, growing, giving back, building businesses, very different aspects. And that's why I've been here 27 years and I'm still in love with the technology and the people.
And you have certain career advice, right? You talked about pursuing a passion.
Yes. Recently, I realized that I am the most senior Latin person at Microsoft on the sales and marketing side. And I taken very seriously the responsibility of giving back and sharing some advice. And some of the journey with the younger generations and some other minorities at work to pretty much show that everything is possible. Right? And I've been asked, well, how does it work? What worked for you? And I just did recently a talk that I wanted to refer. I'm part of the high-tech organization that is here in the U.S. that works with the Latin people, the Latin population in technology. And they wanted me to talk about career. So I talked to my advisors, and the younger millennials are doing the work on communications and storytelling. And I prepare a beautiful deck with some career advice. I get the advice back and say, whoa, it's a great deck if you want to write a book. It's boring. It's very boring. So we don't want to know about that. We can read that in the books. We want to know about you. Right? And that's what I learned, that maybe a lot of the value is on sharing your personal story and your personal learnings, which doesn't mean it's a universal truth, but is in reality what worked for me. So it all came down to three things in that conversation. One of them is you gotta believe as a human that you have boundless potential, right? That if other people can, you can. Remember that story that I told you about? I went to a military high school. So you can imagine I was a very overprotected kid, right? I wasn't supposed to be born, so it was kind of a miracle. So my mom, my grandma, everyone was super overprotective. Then I go into the military high school and it was a shock, right? Very, very rude treatment, military discipline. I couldn't even hold the food from the cafeteria versus the home meals that I used to have. It was
a shock for you.
A real shock, right? My mom was terrified, exercising. The whole thing was really brutal, a brutal change for me. So coming in the first term, she goes like, I'm going to take you out of here. They're going to kill you. I'm going to take you to a regular high school. It was a bad decision. We tried, but we want to go and take you a safer place. And then I look at my mom. She always reminds me of that story. And I'm like, no, I'm not going anywhere. You see that guy that is carrying the Venezuelan flag and is the highest ranking of all the students and the most successful one, I'm going to be like that guy. Because if he can, I can.
Wow.
Right? And that became kind of a motto for me, understanding that we are human, that we are people, and if other people can, you can. Some people have more, different abilities, you have different strengths and weaknesses, but in reality, human achievement is based on how do you combine those with hard work and determination. So if other people can, you can. Right? That's very simple. So I believe in that boundless potential. And I also believe that as part of that, you gotta be your own and your most harder loving critic. Because the moment that you allow yourself to be complacent in what you have achieved, and you don't look at the opportunity that you have to do better, to do more, you start, stagnating and you don't grow anymore. Right? So that for me is a big part of that boundless potential that we all have as people. I always get asked, hey, how do you got into this job and this level? And big part of that is that I don't hold ranks. Right? I believe if I have something to add value in a respectful and open manner, no matter the forum, I go in there and have a conversation with other person. I mean, maybe the other person is more senior, knows more about the business, but if I can add value, I will offer it, and I will have a value exchange with those people. And not only you learn a ton, but you make the other person better. And that helps you so much to grow and build your own career and your own reputation in the company that, it's worked really well for me.
Okay.
So that's one. The other element is, how do you really think about the opportunity in a very different way? Right? Normally, you get an opportunity, a lot of people start questioning the opportunity. And I embrace the why not. The discussion that we just had, how I ended up in marketing. Well, I was 22 years old, I was offered this job, and I'm like, why not?
Yeah.
Right? Can you open a subsidiary? Well, I don't know how to do it, but hey, I can learn. Why not?
Yep.
Right? And looking at the bright side of that opportunity, why not do it, is so empowering. Because then you go and ask yourself, well, what am I going to learn? Is this going to make me better? Does this opportunity align with where I want to go? And how can I build my career based on what I can learn and contribute in this opportunity moving forward? And last but not least, is about the price. I mean, do I want this so bad that I'm willing to pay the price that it takes to go after that opportunity? It can be a risk. It can be the time and energy that you need to put into learning. But if you don't measure the opportunity, but how better it can make you, I think that you're missing the whole point about taking chances in life and careers as well. Okay. And then number 3 is about pursuing passions, not jobs.
Passion, not job. Okay.
You gotta be passionate about what you do every day. I truly believe that the best working environment is when you wake up every morning excited for the opportunity to go join your team and do great things.
Yes.
For whatever it is, right? It's like the work that you're doing here with your audience.
Yes, and I know what I do. Yes.
That's my point, right? This is your passion. This is not a job, right? It's hard and you invest hours, but you enjoy so much the journey that it just makes you better, right? And you can bring your best self into work. So you either love it or you change it, but you gotta be working and pursuing that passion. Right? I always tell people when they're like, I'm in this job and I have all these issues. I'm like, okay, how are you going to solve for that? And we normally end up in a conversation that ends when you need to lead your own rescue. If you don't like where you are, who's going to go come and help you? Right. No one else, right? You need to lead your own rescue. You need to be sure that you're working on that you see the opportunities, that you find your way out. Sometimes it's good to retreat and, reinvent yourself, which is absolutely okay. But you gotta be in charge. The fact that you feel that you're in command of your future, that you can change things for yourself, again, puts you in a position of power and fulfillment about your own potential that will make you better.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have the confidence. I think what you said is like the potential to do anything. If someone can do it, so can you. You have to have the confidence in yourself. And sometimes it's scary to try to think about changing. Some people might be comfortable even though they're not happy, but they're scared of the change.
Absolutely, and that's okay. I mean, being brave is not about not being afraid. It's about, moving even if you're afraid.
Right? Assessing the opportunity.
And the risk, going eyes wide open, having a great plan to manage your contingencies. But again, embracing that opportunity that you have to go and make yourself better. So you gotta believe in your boundless potential. Yeah. You gotta be sure that you're pursuing a passion, not a job, right? And you're looking at the opportunity, not the risk.
Let's talk about mentorship, sponsorship. Did you have mentors and sponsors that help you a lot of way, guide you a lot of way?
Yes, I've been super fortunate on that. And that's one of the things, when I look at the careers, especially for the Latin population here in the US, that I coach people intensively about, which is we are, and I'm going to generalize for a second, right? Normally you're raised, especially if you don't have family in corporate America, you're raised like, do a great job, mijo, at work, don't get in trouble, don't, rock the boat, do a great job and great things happen to you. And that's true early in your career. But the higher you go, the more you want to move, it just doesn't work like that, right? People work with people and human systems are complex and rich. That's the way they are.
Yes.
When there's a rich population, and you're here in the Valley, so you know about it more than anyone, I think. So having people that believe in you, that are willing not only to give you advice, but put a little bit of their own reputation on the line to open a door so you can be eligible for an opportunity, makes so much of a difference for your career. And I was very fortunate because I earned those not knowing that I need them. Right? But some people saw the opportunity, like the leader that brought me out of Venezuela into the regional work. He took me out of Venezuela kicking and screaming. I didn't want to leave the country.
Really?
Oh man, I was like, it's going to be temporary. I don't want to do that, but I really need to help you. But he told me one thing that really touched my heart and convinced me to move, which is, if you really love this region, what I need your leadership to go to be exercised is here at headquarters, helping me rebuild the structure and the next chapter of the history in Latin America. And that's what made me say, okay, if that's what you need, and it's for that purpose, that opportunity, that mission, I'm on.
Okay.
Right? But it will be temporary.
Yes.
And then I went in there, fell in love with the place and the people, and spent 9 years doing that kind of work. And it's what happened. You never know those opportunities where they will take you, but you take them with that heart.
And it opens up new doors for you. Yeah.
Absolutely. So look, having mentors, having sponsors is such an important capability to have a great career. That absolutely is something I recommend people to do. Look, you gotta do your homework. You gotta be prepared. You gotta learn. You gotta enable yourself. But managing your own brand and enabling yourself to a set of sponsors and coaches and mentors through your career are critical if you really wanna go on after that potential that you have.
You have achieved so much, and you've lived in multiple places and done so many great things. What is your favorite, and where do you go from here?
That's a great question. As we were talking, I think that the place where I had the most emotional connection with the job was the country manager of Venezuela, being Venezuelan, not because of the job itself, but because the ability that I had to impact my own country and make it better. Right? Every time that we did social work, that we improve education, every time that we allow people that was less fortunate to have access to technology, to the right education, to services, that I help a small business be more competitive to technology, you're just doing a good thing, right? And the fact that you're doing that for your own, I could see in every one of those kids, either myself or members of my family, right? 20, 30 years in the back, and I'm like, wow, how many opportunities am I opening up for these people now that I'm doing this, right? How much impact and meaning that had for me. So that was a big one, emotionally speaking. I think the one that is and every job is like every one of your kids, right? You love them you love it all the same, but everyone is different. The Asia job was fascinating. I learned so much about diversity, about being inclusive, and what it means to be a real foreigner in a country, and being the person that needs to reach out and connect, and how being that servant leader makes you so much better by making other people better. That was, incredible growth for me. And these global jobs have the magic and the fulfillment of changing the world. Right? You make a decision, and then you see the wheels turning, and how suddenly something happened globally because of things that you and your team are doing. Wow, that's amazing.
Yes.
So,
Very exciting. Very exciting.
Every one of them is pretty exciting in their own values and ways. Absolutely.
I appreciate you sharing about your career journey.
Thank you.
The personal stories you share, and the tips that you're offering to those who are watching out there. And talking about the industry also, the device as a service and how things are changing. So it's been a very educational conversation for me.
Thank you, Jessica. It's been great. And thank you for the opportunity. Look, I want to congratulate you for the work that you're doing, the fact that you're being so thoughtful on being sure that you represent the world, that you bring, you were telling me that you bring, 50% women, and you try to bring every type of, minority group and ethnicity and different angles, different views to make the audience richer and smarter. I think that's fantastic, and I wish we had more people like you helping us grow and understand different perspectives.
Yes, please help me bring more speakers.
I'll do my best, I promise. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Alvaro. Great to have
Thank
you on
Jessica.
the show.
Thank you for listening.
There you have it. Take it up with Jessica Lee, Alvaro Celis from Microsoft.